Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of A Piece of New York. Today we find ourselves in South Brooklyn, and we've come to Tashkent Supermarket, known for bringing Central Asian food as well as groceries to South Brooklyn. It originally opened in 2017 and has since opened up 3 different locations across Brooklyn and Queens. Now, what they're really known for is their hot food bar that serves a number of different Central Asian types of meats, types of kebabs. And so let's go inside, check it out, see what they're all about. So something that I did not mention in the opening is that Tashkent is actually the capital of Uzbekistan. So bringing that Central Asian cuisine to South Brooklyn, they're paying homage to the capital of Uzbekistan. One of the things I will say is when we were in there, it was a little bit overwhelming. There's a lot of people in there. There's a lot of food that you can choose from depending on your appetite. Just be prepared for that. It's almost like going to a Las Vegas buffet. You'll notice that we're also out here at the beach. There's no seating in there. So once you grab the food, you grab, go, and you got to find somewhere to eat. We came to the beach, which is only a couple blocks away. So let's start off with those Russian dumplings, something that I've never had before. Here we go. Cheers. So if you like onions, you're going to love those Russian dumplings. The onion was the dominating flavor on that. It was very overwhelming. The meat inside was a little bit on the colder side, but the onions were definitely an overpowering flavor. So people that love onions, you might like those Russian dumplings. Next up, we have the plov, which is the national dish of Uzbekistan. It's rice, lamb. We can see some garlic in there as well. Here we go. Let's get some rice first. Now, being somebody that absolutely loves meat, that's a meat-heavy dish. The meat was tender, a little bit on the drier side, but it did crumble in my mouth as soon as I took a bite of it. And it was just, I still got that nice, delicious flavor of the meat that was on that dish. And then the rice was warm with the mixture of the carrots. The carrots added an extra sweetness to it as well. So it was tasty. With regards to which I liked more, I did like the flavor of the rice and the carrots more than I did like the meat, but the meat was still delicious. I'm just saying between the two, which one I like more, but together, it was good. It hit the spot. I did enjoy it. Next up, I got a lamb kebab. I've been looking forward to this guy ever since I walked in there. Looked delicious, fantastic. Cheers. Where the last dish was a little bit on the drier side, this right here, my mouth was just so much juice inside of it. There's a juicy, and then on top of that, you have the crispiness. It looks like almost they barbecue on the outside, or at least they char. So there's a little bit of a crispiness to the outer edge, but really the tenderness of the center is really what makes the flavor of this. Of what we've had so far, this has been my favorite. I do like this a lot. I mean, we might stop on the way back there and get some more of this. I absolutely love it. Cheers. Next up, we got some ribs. Here we go. The sweetness of the sauce that they cooked this in is absolutely fantastic. Now, the meat was very fall off the bone. It was delicious, much more tender. Tashkent is known for being a hot buffet. The meat is a little bit on the colder side, unfortunately, but I am enjoying it. I know I was just raving about the lamb that I just ate, but these ribs, very good. Now, I got that beef brisket. When I was looking at the buffet, it looked hot, it looked juicy, it looked tender, a lot of marble, so there was a lot of fat in there. Now, the beef brisket, when I saw this on the hot buffet and I was walking around, this was one of the things that I was most forward looking to eating, just because it looked so tender, it looked juicy. You could see the juiciness just shining down on the beef, and man, it looked great. So here we go. That was tasty. I did like it. It does seem like there's a lot of oil on this piece of beef, which is probably why it is so tasty. I'm not sure if it's from the fat that they're cooking it in, but there was a lot. There's a lot of oil on that bite. It was juicy. It was tender. The outer crust was sweet. So whatever they cooked it with, this sauce as well added a nice sweet flavor to it. So just the combination of tender meat with the sweetness of the sauce and the outer edge and the crust just having a nice little bit of extra crisp to it. This is enjoyable and it's good. It's very fatty, which the fat I feel like holds the most juices, so it's my favorite part. But I definitely like this beef brisket a lot. To tell you the truth, we went to Cat's Deli a couple episodes back, which you can catch that episode right here. I think this brisket is actually more tasty than the brisket that they gave us a sample of when we were at Cat's. Now, we got the salmon with vegetables. When I got this, I originally thought it was a fried salmon. I was kind of in a rush. I was trying to get out of there, but we got the salmon with vegetables. I do love me some fish. Here we go. Cheers. Not bad. It's like having a salmon salad. Delicious. I wish it was a bit more juicier, and I'm getting swarmed by hornets over here. So the crunch of the vegetables adds a nice contrast texture to the fish. If I were to come back, I believe this was $13.99 per pound. Would I come back and get it for $13.99? Probably not. But since we're here trying and giving the review for the people, I'm not upset about it. Now we're going to start to get into our pastries, the baked stuff that has filling. Here we go. Cheers. The outer crust of this, it's soft, it's flaky, has a nice crisp to it. The thing about this pastry is it is salty. So if you like salty food, which me personally, I love salty food, this is a pastry that you want to grab because there's no shortage of meat in here. It's a salty pastry that has delicious bread on the outside. The lamb it wasn't juicy, but you can still have the flavor of the lamb, right? It's a little bit on the drier side still. But what I enjoyed most was just this nice, delicious delight of the salty bread wrapped around that lamb. Pastry with spinach. Here we go. I thought it was going to be a cream spinach. It's not. It's kind of just like a little bit cooked spinach inside this pastry. The pastry, I guess, had been sitting out for a while. It's a little bit cold. The inside just tastes like spinach that you would cook in your stir-fried pan. It's okay. I think this could be better if it was actually like a cream spinach filling. The spinach does taste fresh, but I was expecting more out of this. Yeah, the bread's chewy, doesn't have much flavor. If you come here, don't mean to bag on you, Tashkent, don't get this. All right, and lastly, I don't know why, what stood out to me when I was walking around, but this, I saw it, and for some reason I just thought I have to have it. Maybe because it's deep fried, and I was just like, oh, I could go for some good deep fried bread right now also. Reminded me of an empanada. Here you go, cheers. Same kind of thing. A little bit disappointed. If you actually take a look in here, there really isn't a lot of filling. The meat, it was good, but when you grab an empanada, for instance, and you just have that deep fried empanada and you take a bite into it and there's a ton of meat inside of it, that wasn't really the case. There was you take a bite into it, a lot of air, a lot of nothing in between the bread and the filling. I do like the filling. I mean, maybe even shrink this and make it smaller, but the dough, deep fried, good, salty. It's a little bit on the colder side. Maybe it's been sitting out for a while. So of the pastries, the first pastry I liked, I enjoyed. I buy it again. These last two that I got, in all honesty, take a pass. So it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for bread that has a small side of meat into it, this is what you would grab. But yeah, a little bit on the disappointed side with the last two pastries that we did have.
Well, folks, that concludes our day here down in South Brooklyn, and quite an interesting experience. One thing I will say about this place was that it had a wide variety of food compared to a Las Vegas buffet earlier in the show, and I was not kidding about that. Now, the difference between Las Vegas buffet and this place was that Las Vegas buffets serves their food hot. If you notice, a lot of things that we got was kind of served on the colder side, and then on top of that, even the thing that we did love, that brisket, a lot of oil on that as well. But it had a ton of flavor. Now, of the things that I got, I would recommend that lamb kebab as well as the beef brisket because they were delicious. But everything else was just kind of average at best, except for the ribs. The ribs were good. It was a good experience to have one time. Probably not going to come back, to be honest with you. But South Brooklyn has a number of other places that you can go to as well. They have Totano's. They have Rendazzo's. There's a number of different restaurants. If you are looking to explore South Brooklyn, they do have a choice from. And from everyone over here at A Piece of New York, we just want to say thank you for the views. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Enjoy the content, give us a subscribe, and Hope you have a great day, better week. Take it easy, y'all. Bye-bye.